It already become normality that we are getting more than 12 million merits after the KVK is done. We are tier 5 right now and we got 23, but before when we were tier 4 we were getting quite a lot of merits also, right? That's why I was getting asked how am I able to do it, and my answer always have been regarding war pets, right? If you want to get a lot of merits in Call of Dragons, you are basically have to build war pets, right? And in this video, I will try my best to share which war pets are necessity to build for every single troop type, what in general building means for war pets in this game, because I believe war pets are even more important than decorations, or well, basically even some heroes, right? Because some war pets are dealing more damage than these heroes in general, right? Yeah, so what in general building war pet means, right? Let's go step by step so you guys will understand everything in a simple way. So whenever you are catching pet, let's say any random pet, right? Let's speak about this venomous lizard, right? So you are catching pet, generally those pets are not a legendary rarity. You are trying your best to make the war pet legendary rarity. At least 7 or 8 slots with the most important attributes will be the priority, right? For example, for the Snow Peak Rogue, luck, agility, and strength is priority attributes, and whenever you're gonna try to regenerate your not legendary war pet until it will be legendary with S tier attributes on strength, agility, and luck, and at least 7 slots, then you're gonna move towards the adding more skills. Until then, you're gonna have concentration, main talent skill for sure. You are regenerating your pet to get a good stats and good slots, and meanwhile you are increasing the experience of the concentration, right? Which is in our case concentration, but in general for every single war pet there is different talent skill. So basically for the 1 star you might get 0 star, you will make 1 star, 2nd star, and after 2nd star that's the most hardest part to make to 3rd star, because from 2nd to 3rd you need 4,000 experience, right? It's a time consuming system, but it has its own beauties, right? It means that it's impossible to pay to make it 3 star. You basically, every single player have to play the game, have to catch the war pets, and have to manually increase the experience, and that's how you are basically building your war pet, right? So meanwhile, you're gonna make your main talent skills 3 star. I'm pretty sure at some point you're gonna get legendary war pet, pretty nice skill slots, and pretty nice attributes. Then, of course, you are moving forward and adding some important secondary skills. And whenever you're gonna build your secondary skills and main talent skills, then you are adding stars to your secondary skills also, right? So basically, most time-consuming feature for this is, of course, making main talent skills 3 star. But meanwhile, you can see how many things you can actually do until you are making it, right? So this is like small tips how I build my war pet and what's actually building means for war pets, right? Because in every single feature, I have different patterns, and I'm trying my best to share my patterns. That's why how I'm getting these war pets and how I'm getting this amount of merits in open field PvP, right? Because I want to share everything, what kind of experience I'm getting. So basically, now we know what means to build, and I explained how I'm building my war pets. It will be appropriate for us to speak which war pets are great to build early, which are the best war pets, and so on for every single troop type in the game, right? So basically, since I'm archer main, since the day 1, and I'm gonna be close to 1k days in this game, I'm gonna start speaking about archer war pets, right? So for archer war pets, there is a 5 archer war pets in the game. That's Snow Peak Rock, that's Night Rock, that's Shadow Manticore, that's Bard Manticore, and the newest one is Wind Weasel, which I have not caught yet, right? So basically, when you start the game, you have only one choice, which is Snow Peak Rock, and I would say go for Snow Peak Rock. It will be your first war pet, which will be built, and you will have enough time until the new archer war pet will come out, right? I would not say Snowpeak Rock is the best war pet for archer gameplay, but for the early game, for free-to-play players especially, Snowpeak Rock will be the number one choice because Kinara and Nico, they separately have defense break, and this is what you want for concentration to proc some defense break on your opponent, right? Build paths for archer war pets are pretty similar. I always go for the chain strike synergy. I like healing it a lot, and blood roar and angry roar is also a pretty good skills, right? But I believe for archer war pets, talent skills are really valuable, right? But of course, you will have to spend some time to make your talent skills 3-star. That's when your war pet actually deals a lot of damage. If we are speaking which war pet is the best one to build for archers, so we always have to look at the hero pairs also, and that's of course Shadow Manticore, right? Shadow Manticore is the best war pet for Magrat and Zaida hero pair. It has nothing really spectacular, just deals damage and heals, but that's what Magrat and Zaida actually needs, right? Magrat and Zaida doesn't need something extraordinary, they just need some damage and some healing, and this is what this war pet does, right? As you can see, I made Barbarism 3-star, and slowly I'm increasing, for example, Chain Strikes, and just say Chain Strike to 3-star, and on Intense Chain Strike I have 2k experience left, and slowly I'm gonna make it 3-star also, right? So basically, this is how war pets feature are going. If you are archer player, go for only archer war pets. If you are mage, go for only mage war pets. That's how I look at it, right? So I believe the most important war pet for archer gameplay is Shadow Manticore, with the Chain Strike synergy, and of course, second most important war pet for archer gameplay, in my opinion, is the newest war pet, which is Wind Whistle, right? This war pet is going to deal huge amount of damage. I have already seen the reports, and in general, Ruby and Kylan is at least on the same tier as Magrat and Zaida, not even, I believe even better in terms of merits, but they have to be awakened with 3-star Northwind, right? So for archer players, Shadow Manticore and Wind Whistle will deal most damage. Just because you're gonna start the game, you will have Snowpeak Rock as your first choice. Of course, you are going to make Snowpeak Rock. I think in 1 year you are getting Night Rock, and then in 1 year Shadow Manticore, and then Barbed Manticore also. So basically, you will have enough time to build all the war pets, but if we're gonna speak about which ones are more valuable, Shadow Manticore and Wind Whistle, right? So in general, Chain Strike synergy is most preferable one for archer war pets, so you're always gonna keep Chain Strike, Intense Chain Strike, Blood Roars for your skills, and those skills you are going to use for your war pets. The next one, next war pet type, which of course I want to speak, is of course mages, right? And for mages, everything started amazingly well because we had Sapphire Phage Rake in the game, but at the same time we have Thunder Lizard, we have Ice Lizard, also we have, for example, Seraphic Phage Rake, and Flaming Manticore, right? And you might get lost when you are deciding which war pet you're gonna build for mages, but here I am, I will try my best to help you. And also Shadow Phage Rake, right? Which is pretty cool war pet in general, right? But since you have to choose wisely for the war pets because you will spend a couple of months making the main talent skills 3-star, I believe Sapphire Phage, if you're gonna build Sapphire Phage Rake, you won't gonna make a mistake, right? If your first war pet, which you are going to make 3-star main talent skill, will be Sapphire Phage Rake, I think you did amazing job, not only during the early game, but also even until the late game, right? Because I believe this war pet is usable in every single mage hero pair if you want to deal damage, and if you want to deal damage to multiple targets, because Pain Bloom actually deals damage to multiple targets by the help of the advanced Pain Bloom, right? And of course you have to get High Spirit for the attributes, and you're gonna deal damage to more targets. So yeah, basically Sapphire Phage Rake, follow-up synergy, magic fortunes, and in general crit rate and crit damage skills as secondary is most preferable choice for for the mage gameplay. And yeah, follow-up for mages is same for archers as a chain strike, in my honest opinion. And yeah, you can see recommended heroes Lilia well in Alwyn, but trust me, you will be able to use Sapphire Drake with everything. Even like Flaming Manticore is new warped for mages, now you're gonna still be using Sapphire Drake, right? Of course, you can ask, what about Shadow Drake? What about Thunder Lizard, Ice Lizard? I wouldn't recommend Thunder Lizard, not Ice Lizard. There is some cases for Shadow Drake, if you have enough time, of course, great Warped, not only for Bertrand and Ohar, basically. If you apply Captive, this Warped is great because it's gonna increase your damage all around, but since we have something we have to do and get this buff, that's why I just prefer Sapphire Drake, just basic, just deals damage to multiple targets. There we go, right? So, the first Warped, this is amazing, and next one, of course, meanwhile, you can choose, you can, like, after making Pain Bloom's 3-star, you can choose, maybe you want to go Shadow Drake, or maybe you want to go Seraphic Drake, right? For pure damage, Shadow does more damage, for more survivability, Seraphic, but since we are talking about the best one, I should say, after Sapphire Drake, best one comes on with Flaming Manticore, right? This is all damage dealing Warped, kinda same style as Sapphire Drake, because Flaming Manticore also deals damage to multiple target, and also Flaming Manticore is the best Warped for the best hero for the mage players for open field PvP. That's of course Youngmin, right? This is amazing Warped, of course, follow-up synergy, like kind of same skills for mages, same for Sapphire Drake, same for Flaming Manticore. So you will have the idea which Warped skills you are basically going to keep, right? So yeah, like these two, if you are going to have Sapphire Drake and Flaming Manticore maxed out in terms of like main talent skill, like at least 2-star follow-up synergies. And if you're gonna spend Yggdra crystals on these two Warped alone will get you 12 million merits for mage gameplay. If you are playing, of course, from the laptop or PC, because from mobile I have no idea how it's possible. So basically, this is the best damage dealing Warped currently in the game for the mages, and that's why after Sapphire Drake, I believe Flaming Manticore should be the choice for mage players and should be the focus, right? Number one focus. Does not mean you don't care about Seraphic Drake or Shadow Drake, but main focus, especially for free-to-play players, because you won't gonna have all the resources to have all the Warpeds to 3 stars. That's why you have to choose the best ones and the ones which are going to get you a lot of merits. So yeah, basically 2 Warpeds for one troop type is enough to give you ideas which ones you have to basically build, right? So for archers it was Shadow Manticore and the Wind Weasel, but for early Snowpeacock is nice, but especially for mages, Sapphire is early and great, and the next one it comes from in the late game, which is Flaming Manticore, right? Well, next troop type which we are going to speak is of course cavalry, right? Cavalry is really a different playstyle if we are comparing to the archers and mages because of the range. Now you are melee range, you are having high march speed, and for the cavalry, I believe we have Golden Rock, we have Berserker Drake for cavs, we also have Blade Manticore, Auric Warhound, so basically pretty a lot of Warpeds for cavalry gameplay, right? So here we kinda have same style in the mages. We had Sapphire Drake as one of the best, and I believe Golden Rock is still one of the best Warped for cavalry playstyle. So if you are just starting in the game as a cav player, if you are going to invest your time to Golden Rock and make Exuberance 3-star, you are going to use this Golden Rock in every stages of the game. So making your investment and your time investment in this Warped will be really, really valuable for all the cavalry players, right? It says recommended heroes are Emrys and Bakshi, but trust me, if you want to deal damage with your cavalry hero pair, you're gonna put Golden Rock, because Exuberance has all the things which Cavs players want to have, right? Rage accumulation speed to use this skill damage factor skill a lot. And plus, yeah, more rage, healing, and of course, lot of damage, right? In general, for the cavalry troop type playstyle for the war pets, we are having fierce attack synergies. Like for archers, it was chain strike, for mages, it was follow up, and for cavalry, it's fierce attack, right? So basically, if you are cavalry player, you are saving up all the first attack, intense first attack, blood roars, angry roars, fatal bites, a tooth of the claws at the same time also, right? So basically these are the skills which are great for the cavalry war pits. So yeah, we chose Golden Rock. Why we did not choose Berserker Phaedrake? Pretty easy to understand why. I believe Golden Rock is universally great even for late game, but for Berserker Phaedrake you kinda have to have like debuffs on your target. Kinda same story why we did not choose Shadow Phaedrake. Yes, if you're gonna apply a lot of debuffs, this Warped deals huge amount of damage. Same goes for Shadow Phaedrake for mages, but if we are speaking about the best choices, for mages we went for Sapphire Phaedrake, and for cavalry it's for sure Golden Rock, right? Golden Rock will get you a lot of merits, and it's an amazing choice because Golden Rock is the basic warped for our game, right? So next next warpeds which are coming in the game is Blade Manticore for cavalry and Auric Warhound, right? I will be honest, like Blade Manticore and Auric Warhound did not really change a huge amount of things for cavalry players. Maybe Auric changed a lot because it's a great warped for rallying, but I believe if you're gonna make Blade Manticore as your second most important warped in terms of dealing damage, it will be great because while Blade Manticore generally is usable in Urag hero pairs because it's the one which came out with the Warped, right? So, same style, first attack synergies, crit rates, Blood Roar, Angry Roar also should be here, and like second most damage dealing Warped, I think, is Blade Manticore for the cavalry players. But it doesn't really mean that Blade Manticore is 10 times better than Golden Rock. I would be lying. Golden Rock is going for the same tier as Blade Manticore, in my honest opinion, right? The next one, the next tier, which next warpeds for the troop type, which we of course have to speak, is infantry, right? And for infantry, at first we had kind of weak choices because we had, for example, Frost Bear, we have Stripe Bear, we have Bruin Bear, we have Moon Bear, Venomous Lizard, what else? Mozrock, right? So at first, you might say which warped we should build because it's pretty awkward because for the first basic warped there is Frostbear and there is Striper, right? For the universally warped which you're gonna use, because Frostbear, for example, you need to have some shield gameplay to apply this when your legion gains a shield, right? So Madeline's and Thea legions, that's the condition which Frostbear will be used. That's why I don't really like to have this Warped as a priority. That's why maybe you're gonna build Striper because at least you're gonna get healing to every single hero pair which you're gonna equip, not like strict reason which one. Also, I believe Garwood is one of the best basic infantry heroes in the game. But if we're gonna speak the best warpeds for open field for infantries, it starts with Bruin Bear, right? It starts with Bruin Bear, the one of the best warpeds for the Goresh and Skogul hero pair. This is going to give you not only a lot of defense and counter attack damage, it will also give you a huge amount of defense and survivability, right? And also damage and crit damage and everything, right? Of course, the secondary skill set for the infantry warpeds are counter strike synergy, same for archers chain strike, mages follow up, cavalry first attack, and for the infantry players, that's of course counter strike. So if you are going to be infantry players, save as much as possible counter strikes, intense counter strikes, and advanced counter strikes, angry rolls, even crit rate roars are nice for this warped. So basically, this warped not only gonna deal damage, but it will also give you a lot of survivability, right? But I believe since Bruin Bear is not accessible for the game early in the game, Venomous Lizard is also amazing choice. This is basically counter-attack damage dealing war pet. So if you don't want to go for Frost Bear, because I wouldn't really recommend for Frost Bear, the Striber is nice choice for healing. If you don't like healing, Venomous Lizard is amazing choice. So from the basic infantry war pets, Venomous Lizard should be the #1 priority. Then Bruin Bear comes with the Goresh and Skogul hero pair, and there we go, right? Of course, there is one war pet for infantry players, which are amazing for rally especially. Then that's of course the Moon Bear with the Moon Rage. So yeah, if you are infantry player, you of course thinking about having at least one good rally war pet. That's like one expensive feature of infantry players. That's why I have to speak about Moon Bear also, which will be amazing for rallies and garrisons and so on, right? For the late game, Mosrok, for sure, Kuma Lake 1, of the best, if not the best infantry hero pairs in the game, and Mosrok is the best war pet for their gameplay, right? So you always have to keep in mind, at some point you know that Mosrok is coming to the game, so save up Counter-Strike skills and get ready to invest your time to make Coil 3-star, because this skill is simply amazing. HP bonuses, dealing damage, defensive stats, everything what you want to have for your war pet for infantry, you gotta get from the Mosrok, right? So yeah, that's basically for every single troop type. We are missing one war pet, which is Sand Lizard. Sand Lizard is universally great. No matter if you are infantry, cavalry, mage, archer, you will be using Sand Lizard everywhere, right? Sand Lizard has different skill sets. You just want to have healing percentage increases, in general healing war pet skills, maybe some dispels. So basically this war pet is good only in one thing, and that's healing, right? So one of the most cheapest war pets in the game, one of the best war pets for free to play players in general, and not only because it's really not that expensive to make. Sand Lizard, right? Tranquility, like you're gonna see a lot of skills in the skill feature, which gonna increase healing and healing rate and healing percentages, and that's the skills you want to have on your Sand Lizard, which we of course had to mention, right? So basically, um, my question, like the question which I was getting asked how I'm getting this amount of merits. I shared my secrets. I'm using those secrets on my archer war pets, as you can see. And of course, if you guys want to be committed to this game and get a lot of merits and get better, war pets are one of the most important feature of this game, which has to give your attention, right? It's not decorations, it's not city skins, no. War pets, trust me, if you're gonna build your war pets correctly, they are going to be like a third hero for your hero pairs, and trust me, you will have the big and huge difference in your merits and in your overall gameplay, right? Hopefully this riddle was interesting, and hopefully you guys understood more about war pets and in general the game. And if you did, as always, press like, subscribe, share. It always gives me more and more motivation to make more content for this game. I wish everybody amazing day, morning and night. We are going to see each other really soon. Bye bye and luck.